Hello students, myself I am CH Bhairav Prasad, chemistry faculty, working in Narayana Medical Academy for the past 15 years, and today we are going to discuss about D block elements and transition elements, students. And in D block and transition elements we are going to cover these subtopics. And if you look at that, first of all we have to discuss about introduction on periodic table, because D block elements are a part of periodic table, so we have to discuss about introduction on periodic table. Then position of D block elements in the periodic table, where they are placed, we have to discuss. At the same time, electronic configuration of D block elements, general properties of transition elements, and here we are also going to discuss about difference between transition elements and D block elements, how they are differed. At the same time, variation in atomic and ionic sizes of transition elements, and ionization enthalpies of transition elements, oxidation states. At the same time, trends in M+2/M standard electrode potentials. You can say SRP also, standard electrode potential or standard reduction potential. Then trends in M+3/M+2, that is also SRP values, and trends in stability of higher oxidation states. Next, chemical reactivity and E naught value, how they are related. Chemical reactivity, how it is depending on E naught value also we are going to discuss. Next, magnetic properties, then formation of colored ions. Next, formation of complex compounds, catalytic properties, interstitial compounds found by D block elements. Next, alloy formation, K2Cr2O7 and KMnO4. Now we are going to discuss, students. Let us start discussing introduction on periodic table. Now if you look at the students, first subtopic we have to discuss is introduction on periodic table. If you look at this, what is periodic table actually? Periodic table is nothing but the classified form of elements. Actually, if you see, each and every element is having so many chemical and physical properties, and remembering, explaining, studying all these properties of all different elements is very difficult. So for that purpose, scientists classified the elements, and the classified form of elements is nothing but periodic table. And if you look at a periodic table, we can find so many elements, and these elements are classified into 4 different blocks. 4 different blocks. On what basis? On the basis of differentiating electron. So on the basis of differentiating electron, the elements present in the periodic table classified into 4 blocks. What they are? They are S block, P block, D block and F block elements. And our topic is D block elements. On what basis? First of all, what do you mean by differentiating electron? Differentiating electron is the last electron, outermost electron, which is entering into valency shell of an atom. And here in D block elements, D subshell can accommodate maximum 10 electrons. Because of that reason only, D block elements are placed in 10 vertical columns, and they are from 3rd B group to 2nd B group. So our D block elements definition, once again, the elements in which differentiating electron enters into D orbital of penultimate shell, those are D block elements, and these are placed in 10 vertical columns. Let us see how they are placed. And now we should discuss position of D block elements in the periodic table. I mean, where D block elements are actually placed. If you look at periodic table, S block elements are placed left hand side, and P block elements are placed right hand side. F block elements are placed bottom side of the periodic table, whereas D block elements, if you see, D block elements are placed in between S block as well as P block. Means D block elements are placed in between S block as well as P block elements. And if you see, D block elements are occupying how many vertical columns? Let us count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As I told, a D subshell can accommodate 10 electrons. These D block elements are segregated into 10 vertical columns, and if you discuss group wise, these are classified into 8 groups. If you see, D block element starts with third B group as we discussed and ended with what, say second B group. See, third B, fourth B, fifth B, sixth B, seventh B, and if you look at eighth B group occupies three vertical columns: iron column, cobalt column, and nickel column, and first B, then finally second B group elements. And if you look at students, these 10 vertical columns, or you can say 8 groups. If you see, the first element is what, say scandium, then followed by titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc, students. And here these D block elements are classified into total 4 series. What they are? 3D series, 4D series, 5D series, and 6D series. I repeat, D block elements are classified into 4 series: 3D, 4D, 5D, and 6D. And it is in the name only. What is that? In 3D series elements, differentiating electron enters into 3D subshell, whereas in 4D series, differentiating electron enter into 4D subshell or 4D orbital, and in 5D series, differentiating electron enters into 5D orbital or 5D subshell, whereas in 6D series, differentiating electron enters into 6D subshell or 6D orbital, students. And based on this, if you look at scandium to zinc, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 elements are present in 3D series, and in 4D series also 10 elements are present. First element is Y, that is known as yttrium, and last element is what, say cadmium. And in 5D series also 10 elements are there, starts with lanthanum and ends with mercury. And you see, in 3D series, 4D series, and 5D series, each series contain 10 D block elements. What about 6D series? Generally, we used to say 6D series is incomplete series, because whatever the newly discovered elements are there, those elements we are going to place in what, say 6D series. And here, see students, from third B group to second B group, we have discussed these elements. And 3D series, if you see, for scandium, valence electronic configuration is 4s2 3d1. For titanium, it is 4s2 3d2. For vanadium, it is 4s2 3d3. For chromium, it is 4s1 3d5. And here we have to specially discuss what is that D5. I hope you know D5 configuration means stable. Actually, after 4s2 3d3, we should write 4s2 3d4, but instead of that, I am writing 4s1 3d5 because D5 means exactly half filled, stable according to Hund's rule, we can say. At the same time, after that, manganese 4s2 3d5, and iron 4s2 3d6, cobalt 4s2 3d7, nickel 4s2 3d8, and for copper I should write 4s2 3d9, but here we are placing 4s1 3d10. Again, D10 means fully filled. Fully filled means it is stable according to Hund's rule. And here for zinc, valency configuration is 4s2 3d10, students. And here exceptional electronic configurations we can find for chromium as well as for copper. For chromium, I repeat once again, 4s1 3d5. For copper, it is again 4s1 3d10, students, according to Hund's rule. So exactly half filled and fully filled D subshells are stable, and such elements are also getting stability. And here we know that scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, and actinium, all these belongs to same group, that is third B. And what we learned, elements which are present in a group should have same valency electronic configuration. But here in this case, students, if you see, in fifth B, first element is what, say vanadium. For vanadium, we have given 4s2 3d3, and niobium should be what it should be. It should be 4s means it should become 5s, 3d means it should become 4d. For your understanding purpose, I'll write clearly 5s1 4d4. Right. See the students, 4s2 should become 5s2, 3d3 should become 4d3, but here it is exhibiting exceptional electronic configuration, that is niobium. At the same time, in 6th B group, tungsten is exhibiting exceptional electronic configuration, seaborgium also exhibiting exceptional configuration, and in 7th B, technetium has exceptional configuration, and in 8th B, ruthenium. At the same time, palladium and platinums also exhibiting exceptional electronic configuration. I repeat, students, once again, elements which belongs to same group should have same valency configuration, but which d block elements are exhibiting exceptional configuration means I can say niobium, tungsten, seaborgium, technetium, ruthenium, palladium and platinum, they are exhibiting abnormal electronic configuration. This is exception, students. And now these are d block elements classified into 3D, 4D, 5D and 6D, and starts from third B group, ends with what, say second B group. Now we have to discuss how these d block elements are differentiated from transition elements. Why this is a, why there is a difference between d block elements and transition elements? How can we differentiate? Let us discuss. And here, scandium to nickel, all these elements are having incompletely filled d subshell in their atomic state. And here transition element definition, what we discussed, the d block elements in which incompletely filled d subshell is present either in the atomic state or in the oxidation state. And if you look at copper can exhibit copper plus 1 and copper plus 2. For copper atomic number 29, valency configuration is 4s 1 3d10. For copper it is 4s1 3d10. Copper plus 1 means loss of 1 electron, that is from this, so it becomes 4s0 3d10. Copper plus 2 means loss of 2 electrons, one from here, so 4s0 3d9. So if you look at copper in plus 2 oxidation state, it got 3d9 configuration. D9 means incompletely filled, means this copper also considered as what, say transition element, means first B group also considered as transition element, but first B group elements given a name, special name, that is typical transition element. Typical transition elements. So why first B group elements are known as typical transition elements? Because in the atomic state they are not having incompletely filled d subshell, but in the common oxidation state, plus 2 oxidation state, they got incompletely filled d subshell, so they are known as typical transition elements. So from third B group to first B group, all these elements are known as what, say transition elements. What about second B group? I say that second B group is a d block element. Second B group elements are d block elements only, but they are not transition elements. Let us see why. In second B group elements, we have zinc, cadmium and mercury. And if you look at zinc, atomic number is what, say 30. Configuration is 4s2 3d10. This is the valency configuration. In the atomic state, d10 is there, means it is fully filled. And zinc generally exhibit plus 2 oxidation state. In plus 2 oxidation state, it is losing 2 electrons, that is from 4s. It got 4s0 3d10. Again in the oxidation state also, d subshell is fully filled. See students, in the atomic state or in the oxidation state, in both the cases d subshell is fully filled. As d subshell is fully filled, zinc, second B group elements are of course d block, but they are not transition elements. I repeat once again, why second B group elements are not transition elements? Because they are not having incompletely filled d subshell in their atomic state and in their common oxidation state. So what I can say, from third B group to first B group, all these are d block elements, at the same time transition elements. And from third B group to second B group, all these are d block elements. Once again, third B group to second B group, they are d block. Third B group to first B group, they are d block as well as transition elements. Why? Because second B group elements are d block, but they are not transition elements. So once again students, second B group elements, zinc, cadmium, mercury, they are d block elements, but they are not transition elements. Based on this, one statement also we can give, all these transition elements are d block elements, but all d block elements are not transition. Second B group elements are d block, but they are not transition. So I repeat once again, all transition elements are d block, but all d block elements are not transition. Exception is what, say second B group, because they have fully filled d subshell in their atomic state and in their most common oxidation state. Now, if you look at properties of transition elements are exhibiting varieties of properties, what they are and reason behind that. See students, what we discussed, transition elements are the d block elements which are having incompletely filled d subshell. Incompletely filled d subshell means, let us see. If you look at d subshell, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 d orbitals. D1 means 1 unpaired, D2 2 unpaired, D3 3 unpaired, 4 unpaired, 5 unpaired, 4 unpaired, 3 unpaired, 2 unpaired, 1 unpaired. See students, D1 configuration to D9 configuration, all these are known as incomplete D subshell. And what do you mean by fully filled D subshell means only D10 is known as fully filled D subshell. If you look at a fully filled D subshell, all the 10 electrons are what say paired electrons. There is no unpaired electron. So I can say unpaired electrons must present. Transition elements must possess unpaired electrons. Why? Because they have incompletely filled D subshell. Due to the presence of incompletely filled D subshell, they must possess unpaired electrons. Because of these unpaired electrons only, they are exhibiting so many properties. Let us see what they are. So transition elements must possess unpaired electrons. Why they are having unpaired electrons? Because they are having incompletely filled D subshell, and because of these unpaired electrons only, they are exhibiting varieties of properties. What they are? Number 1, transition elements and their compounds can exhibit color property. Number 2, magnetic properties. Number 3, conductivity, thermal and electrical conductivity. Number 4, malleability. Number 5, ductility, and they can exhibit even complex formation, and they can form even interstitial compounds. They can exhibit alloy formation. They can exhibit catalytic properties, systems, and they can exhibit variable oxidation states. They can exhibit variable oxidation states, and they are very hard in nature with high MP and BP values. See students, so transition elements and their compounds exhibit variety properties. What they are? They can exhibit color property, magnetic property, conductivity, malleability, ductility, complex formation, interstitial compounds formation, alloy formation, catalytic properties. At the same time, variable oxidation states, and transition elements are found to be very hard in nature with high MP/BP values, and all these properties exhibited by transition elements, and the single reason is what say they possess unpaired electrons. And if you look at physical properties of D block elements, or you can say transition elements, and these transition elements are exhibiting all metallic properties. As we discussed just now, they are exhibiting color property, metallic luster they can exhibit, thermal and electrical conductivities they are exhibiting, and malleable ductile properties also exhibited by these transition elements. And if you look at lattice structures, each and every transition element is having a particular lattice structure. If you see, for example, scandium has HCP structure, titanium has HCP structure, vanadium and chromium both are having BCC structure. HCP stands for hexagonal closely packed arrangement, and BCC stands for body centered cubic structure. And if you look at when metal to metal, when there is a difference in the crystal structures, or you can say crystal lattice, they also differ in their properties. If anybody asks you why transition elements from one element to next element there is a difference, you may say even they differ in their crystal lattices, because few properties depends on even crystal lattices also. Now if you look at melting point of these D block elements, or you can say transition elements, see students, if you look at S block elements, for S block elements we have first A group as well as second A group. In first A group elements, valency configuration is NS1, second A group elements valency configuration is NS2. If you look at first A group elements, they are contributing only one valence electron towards metallic bond formation, whereas secondary group elements are contributing only 2 valence electrons towards metallic bond formation. As the number of interatomic metallic bonds increases, as the number of metallic bonds increases, more closely packed arrangement, resulting species is hard. Hard in the sense it should have more melting point and boiling point. That is about S block elements, whereas we are discussing about D block elements. For D block elements valency configuration we got NS2 N minus 1 D 1 to 10. NS2 N minus 1 D 1 to 10. And if you look at D block elements, or you can say transition elements, these elements are ready to contribute 2 types of electrons. What they are? D block elements can contribute NS electrons and N minus 1 D electrons. So NS electrons can participate in metallic bond formation, N minus 1 D electrons also can participate in metallic bond formation. When more electrons are participating in metallic bond formation, more attractive forces, strong attractive forces, particles are closely packed, resulting species is hard in nature with high MPBP values. I repeat students, compared with S block elements, D block elements are contributing more number of electrons for metallic bond formation because NS electrons are ready, N minus 1 D electrons also ready for metallic bond formation. When more number of electrons are participating in metallic bond formation, particles are tightly packed, resulting species hard with high MPBP values. So D block elements are ready to contribute more number of electrons. They can ready to contribute NS electrons as well as N minus 1 D electrons. So more electrons are participating in metallic bond formation. As a result, resulting species is hard with high MPBP values. Because of that reason only, compared with S block elements, melting point value is more for D block elements. And among D block elements, how melting point is changing, with the help of graph we can discuss students. On x-axis I took atomic number, on y-axis melting point is mentioned. As gradually atomic number is increasing, see melting point also gradually what say increases, but if atomic number further increases, again then decreased, you can see in this graph. Why this is happening, let us see. Now if you look at 3D series elements, in 3D series elements we have scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper and zinc students. In all the cases, if you write valence electronic configuration 4s2 3d1, 4s2 3d2, 4s2 3d3, 4s1 3d5, 4s2 3d5, 4s2 3d6, 4s2 3d7, 4s2 3d8, 4s1 3d10, 4s2 3d10 students. And if you see D1 1 unpaired electron, D2 2 unpaired, D3 here 3 unpaired, and here in chromium how many unpaired? 6 unpaired, 5 plus 1 6 unpaired, and manganese has 5 unpaired. Why? Because here S2 means both are paired electrons, and in iron 6 d electrons are present. 6 d electrons means this S2 electrons are paired electrons, 6 d electrons means 4 unpaired, here 3 unpaired, here 2 unpaired, here 1 unpaired, here no unpaired electron. See students, from scandium to manganese, D1 is becoming D5, but from scandium to chromium, number of unpaired electrons are increasing. As unpaired electrons are increasing, melting point also gradually what say increases, but manganese, technetium, abnormally they are having low melting point values. I repeat students once again, manganese, technetium both are having abnormally low melting point. And one more thing, scandium to chromium, as number of unpaired electrons are increasing, melting point also gradually increases. But after chromium what is happening? Pairing of electron takes place. When pairing of electrons are taking place, number of unpaired electrons are decreasing. As number of unpaired electrons are decreases, melting point also decreases. I repeat once again, scandium to chromium melting point gradually increasing, and after chromium gradually melting point is decreasing because scandium to chromium number of unpaired electrons increases, but after chromium unpaired electron decreases due to pairing of electrons within the D subshell. And here, if you see, in 3D series, highest melting point chromium, and in 4D series, molybdenum, and in 5D series, highest melting point is for tungsten. So in entire D block elements, melting point highest for tungsten. Because of highest melting point only, tungsten is used as filament in bulbs, we can say. So we can say from 3rd B group to 6th B group, melting point gradually increases. After that, melting point is gradually decreasing. This is about melting point, students.